This is the download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news in the business of podcasting. I'm Gavin Gaddis. Here's what you need to know for today, Monday, April 13th. Before I get into the news, a quick reminder. This Thursday, April 16th, at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tom Webster and RSS.com co-founder Alberto Batella will present Audio Primes, the people who listen to podcasts. Built from the Podcast Landscape 2025 data, this new report looks at the audience behavior of audio primes, people who consume at least 3/4 of their content as audio. Registration is free and live now. Link in the show notes. Now for our top story. The podcast show London 2026 announces Global and iHeartPodcasts as headline partners. Media and entertainment group Global and publisher iHeartPodcasts are back as partners of the podcast show London for the 2026 London event. Global's 2026 presence will have a particular focus on their newly launched Global Studios. The 2026 edition of the podcast show London is set for May 20th and 21st at the Business Design Centre in Islington, London. Sounds Profitable will return this year as sponsor of the brand stage and host of a pre-show badge pickup happy hour that will run 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. GMT on May 19th. Next up, podcasts on the big screen. Alison Sprague, VP of Measurement Science at Samba TV, debuts Samba's first Netflix podcast ranker. As reported by Ashley Carman in her Soundbite newsletter, Samba's data is provided by chips installed in, quote, tens of millions, end quote, of smart TVs in the United States, which is then weighted against U.S. Census data. Carman notes Netflix CFO Spencer Newman said video podcasts over-index on mobile devices for Netflix users outside of the Samba data because they're looking specifically at TVs. According to Samba's ranker, 13% of Netflix households watched a podcast in Q1 of 2026. There's a clear winner in the individual podcast ranker as The Breakfast Club accounts for 44% of total views tracked by Samba in Q1. By comparison, second place goes to Bridgerton, the official podcast, with 16% of total views. Ashley Carman clarifies that the data set from Samba used for this ranker qualifies a view as 1 minute of watch time. Next up, the attention economy comes for podcasting. Amplify Media founder and CEO Stephen Goldstein reflects on a question asked in Steve Ray's final issue of Bad on Mike. Is podcasting optimizing the wrong thing? Goldstein zooms in on the download as a metric. It's a distribution metric, not a reliable gauge of consumption. Goldstein argues success isn't solely defined by reach, and customer engagement has been the chosen currency for most businesses. Attention is invaluable, especially when the world of podcasting is built on the medium's ability to form connections with audiences. And for our final top story from Digiday's media buying briefing, what buyers got out of the NewFronts and expect to happen in the upfronts. Digiday's Michael Bürgi surveys how buyers assessed this year's NewFronts and what they expect from the upfronts. Little stood out in the way of individual content at NewFronts. That said, the interviewed buyers note a positive trend of improved measurement capabilities. Upfront conversations cite several reasons for shifting budgets, specifically automotive and spirits budgets moving down slightly. Steve Bowler, founder of consultancy Mercer Island Group, says he's sensing from marketers at upfronts that there's a current focus on flexibility. As for the rest of the news, last Friday's episode of Pod News Weekly Review features an interview with Sounds Profitable partner Brian Barletta discussing bringing podcast movement to New York City this year in August. Writer Anahita Davudi has a new analysis of the podcasting scene in Iran for Pod News Market Focus article series, which is built largely from data in the Grand View Research Middle East and Africa Podcasting Market Size and Outlook 2030 report. Oxford Road has published a special edition of the Media Roundtable podcast featuring the full panel discussion from Podcast Movement Evolution's panel, The Power of Independence, Why Brands Are Betting on Independent Creators. Inside Audio Marketing has coverage of the New York Times internal restructuring to merge their audio and podcast video teams into one unified shows department. And finally, Exactly Right Media, the podcast network behind My Favorite Murder, and iHeartPodcasts have signed true crime podcaster Jake Brennan. His podcast, Disgraceland and Hollywoodland, will continue to be produced by Double Elvis and executive produced by Exactly Right Media and iHeartPodcasts. That does it for today's episode. As a reminder, you can find links for every single thing I just talked about by clicking the link in your show notes. That'll take you to today's episode post on soundsprofitable.com, where you can also subscribe to the newsletter version of the show. Today's episode was written and produced by myself, Brian Barletta, Molly DeMillier, and Tom Webster. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis, and I'll see you tomorrow.